But in any case, the president was talking to the students when he was interrupted by a heckler. And listen to his response.
You know, I have to say we actually arranged for that because it made me feel at home. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't have at least one heckler.
It was funny stuff from the president. He started when he was first heckled. He said, no, 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 no to the audience because they were booing. He said, this is part of the lively debate we talked about. This is good. The president got a standing ovation. Then, of course, he got another ovation when he talked about feeling right at home. Daniel Marans, by all accounts, both in terms of the Hebrew the president sprinkled throughout his speeches and the number of photo ops, this seemed to be a pretty good trip for President Obama and the administration. But what'd you make of it?
And was sort of, David, there's no question that the president was sort of off to a rough start in his administration, at least in terms of the appearances and the perception in the Israeli public. Now, whether that matters or it should matter is another question. But when the president did ask for a settlement freeze in order to bring the Israeli government to the negotiating table with the Palestinians in the first year of his administration, some people believed that it was made more difficult by the fact that the president didn't connect with the Israeli public and the Israeli government emotionally. That a former president like Bill Clinton was able to do that so successfully and also twist the Israeli government's arm to loosen its grip on the occupied territories, specifically because they could have that personal touch. And, David, I think that tends to be correct, that when you have a group that has perceived grievances or a sense that the world does not understand it, and you were trying to get them to do something, particularly when they have strong domestic support in the United States, it definitely helps to hit all the right notes in terms of the rhetoric, in terms of the emotional, interpersonal stuff.
Daniel, I got to ask you a little bit about some of the Hebrew that President Obama used over there. Folks may not realize, but Daniel Marans went to, I don't know how to describe the schooling, but a Jewish upbringing and school, and Daniel is fluent in Hebrew. So, Daniel, some of the terms that President Obama sprinkled into his speech, first of all, when the president refers to tikkun olam. Explain what that means to our audience. It's wondering, what is he talking about?
Well, tikkun olam is actually, it's a fundamental Jewish idea of social justice, of literally trying to repair the world, and that we're all in our own personal way obligated to try and work toward doing that. And I think, for instance, the fact that the president laid a stone from the Martin Luther King Memorial on the grave of Yitzhak Rabin, the slain Israeli prime minister who fought for peace, that was a symbol of basically saying, we have a strong tradition of tikkun olam. I am associating the black civil rights struggle with the struggle of Israeli peace activists like the slain prime minister Yitzhak Rabin, and also, quite frankly, the Palestinian nonviolent protest movements that are erupting all over the West Bank right now, including one that was portrayed on the cover of the New York Times Magazine in Nabi Saleh. They certainly showed that they were interested in the president making that connection, because there was a group of nonviolent protesters that put on Obama masks in honor of his visit to walk on a street in Hebron, in the Palestinian city of Hebron, that is where Palestinians are not allowed, because that is a Jewish-only street, partly for security reasons. But the fact of the matter is that things are completely segregated in the West Bank along ethnic and religious lines, and that was tremendously symbolic, and I thought that was powerful as well.